Mo McGonigal, and I work with LEAP, and I'm the Director of Regional Partnerships and the coordinator for the Roanoke Foodshed Network. So today's call is a collaborative of the Roanoke Foodshed Network. It's one of our virtual learning exchanges, and we're really excited today to highlight speakers across the Roanoke region to really learn about the great work that they're doing and our community leaders in our foodshed. So before that, I just wanted to give some context for those of you that are new to the Roanoke Foodshed Network. First of all, we just had a name change. So we were formerly known as the Roanoke Regional Food System Partnership, but are now the Roanoke Foodshed Network. So for those of you that might be a little confused with the new name. But basically, we are a food systems collaborative across the Roanoke region. And we started this collaborative years ago through the number of assessments that have been done across the region of our food system. Back in 2020, we were funded through a USDA Regional Food System Partnership grant to really bring together a structure and framework for in relationship building for the development of this collaboration. So we really, as you can see in the picture here, we define our region by the foodshed with Roanoke City, Salem City, and Roanoke County at the center. But we recognize the importance of bringing in stakeholders from across the foodshed in order to really impact food systems change. So if you think about the local food system and where the food is being grown in our region, it's largely in the rural communities that are surrounding kind of the urban epicenter. So as you can see, these are just some of the many partners that have been involved on this project. And it's continuing to evolve as we grow and develop as a network. But the Roanoke Foodshed Network is truly a collaborative. So while LEAP is the fiscal agent for the grant, we have partner extensively with a number of organizations. So across the top, you can see the organizations in some of the leadership roles. And then below are just a few of the many partners that have been involved in guiding and shaping this network throughout its development, which has been about 2 years now. So it's been a little while. And as we've come together in this collaboration, we have really kind of set our vision, which is an equitable and resilient food and farm system that produces health in abundance in the Roanoke region. And then our mission, which is to mobilize an expansive network to create a collaborative, action-oriented framework to prioritize food and farming systems in the region. So over the past 2 years, that's really what we've been doing the hard work of building those relationships, setting a strong foundation so that we can reach our guiding star. Throughout this process, we've also defined 4 major goals to direct the work of the network. So each of these goals is associated with a working group that engages stakeholders across the community to develop kind of activities to kind of then feed back into our guiding star. So the first goal is a working group that focuses on healthy food access. The second goal is really focused on regional food identity and how we tell the story of food as an integral part of our community. The third goal focuses on production, processing, and distribution, really supporting farmers and local food distribution through our community. And then the fourth goal is focused on network governance and building trusting and transparent relationships across the network. So as I said, each of these goals is associated with a working group, and each working group is led by 2 individuals that represent organizations across the region. So if any of these goals are affiliated with the work that you're doing on the ground and you'd like to get involved in one of the working groups of the Roanoke Foodshed Network, we'll send out some follow-up information so that you can ensure to plug in the future. So here you can see the structure of the Roanoke Foodshed Network. So in the center, we have the leadership team. So each of the 4 working groups on the outside is led by 2 co-leads that then make up the leadership team, which is then also included. The management team is also included in that. And then of course, not to forget the green background, which is the broader network. And really we see that as kind of the expanse of people and organizations that touch the food system across the Roanoke region. So what do we really do as a network? So we came together to really think through what is this collaborative, because a network is really different than an organization in that we're not necessarily running programs, but we're supporting, uplifting, prioritizing, and advocating for things across the region. So in really thinking through how we go about doing our work as a collaborative, we came up with 2 overarching network functions. So the first one is focused on things that strengthen support the wellness and strength of the network, including supporting communication across diverse stakeholders across the food system, supporting equity, supporting relationship building, and then supporting each other through resource sharing as well, whether that's fiscal or material or in a number of different ways. And then the second network function is really thinking about the broader Roanoke region. So what does the network do in service to our regional community? And the ways that takes form is through network weaving, so connecting the disparate parts of the food system through regional assessment and prioritization, and then through advocacy and engagement. So this is just a little bit about the Roanoke Foodshed Network. Again, I'll send out information. So if you're interested in getting involved, you can get on our listserv or become part of one of our working groups. Today is really about uplifting the great work that's happening through our numerous community partners.
Great, thanks so much, Mo. And I forgot to introduce myself earlier. I'm Katie Trazo. I'm an associate with the Center for Food Systems and Community Transformation. And it's a pleasure to be here helping host this event today. I'm gonna pass it to our director, Kim Nawalny, to introduce our speakers.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Maureen. It's really great to be here. Really great to be here. I have the pleasure to really bring forward our speakers today, just introduce and kind of set the tone and really let them take the stage. We have an amazing pair conversation to be had, and just want to first thank Miss Amazetta Anderson and Rachel Burks for not only agreeing to offer your wisdom and your insights and your thoughts today, but for all the work you do, the everyday work that you do that is perhaps sometimes not always seen, but is obviously felt. And I think that's what our goal is today, is to be seen and felt and to really connect across this region. And for those who are coming to us outside of the Roanoke Foodshed Network, this is an inviting space for everyone, so you can continue to think about the work you're doing in food systems, from farm gate to dinner plate, as we like to say, and everything in between. So I'm going to first introduce Miss Amazetta, and I am going to share some more background of her. So not only is Miss Amazetta representing the work she does with the George Washington Carver Gardens in the city of Roanoke, she has a breadth of experience and wisdom that she carries. And one of the most important parts of her backgrounds from Miss Amazetta is nursing, in which fuels her support of healthy eating and exercising, which she has been encouraging youth elders, community members at large, all across the community gardening community in Roanoke. If you have not had the pleasure to meet Ms. Amazetta in person, I just so encourage you to do so. Visit the gardens, see the magic, see what incredible connectivity she helps create. From assisting teaching people how to teach them how to grow, she also helps them to eat what we grow. And that is from the ground up. And that's probably one of the many reasons why people have catalyzed around her, and to really feel what's important here is that it is from the community, by the community, and for the community in this work. She is a master food volunteer with Virginia Cooperative Extension, and she is a core member of our regional food network. And we're just really pleased to have her with us this afternoon. I'm next going to introduce Rachel Burks. Rachel is passionate about reducing health disparities, and that is so significant in the work that we all do. As Carillion's Clinic Community Health Education Manager, Rachel provides leadership to a team of health educators and nurses to improve community health. She has experience studying consumer vendor interactions at farmers markets, designing active aging programs, leading food access efforts through the Virginia Family Nutrition Program, which is through Virginia Cooperative Extension, and has been influencing the health behaviors of individuals, organizations, and community through a variety of strategies. Again, one of the reasons why she's joining with us today and one from uplifting her work in the region is through those multitude of strategies that she's put into practice. She also serves as a co-lead for the Healthy Food Access Working Group with the Roanoke Foodshed Network, and has experience in programming and degrees related to health and wellness promotion and public health, and from Virginia Tech. Had to give a little shout out there. In her free time, she enjoys being active outdoors with her family and growing, cooking, and eating nourishing food. Rachel has lived in Roanoke, in the Roanoke area for 8 years, and is excited about supporting efforts to ensure that everyone in the region can enjoy healthy local food. And that's the both you and Rachel and Amazetta have that so much in common in terms of this major theme here today, healthy food futures for all. So we are just really excited to hear from you. So for everyone, we designed this so both Ms. Amazetta and Rachel will have about 10 minutes apiece to kind of share the big picture of their work, and then we're going to turn, Maureen and I will sort of moderate some discussion through some questions, and we'd love then to open up to the audience. So with that, I'm going to pass it to Ms. Amazetta.
Hello, everybody. Well, for those who know me, hey, and for those who don't, I'm definitely looking forward to meeting you and having you come to the garden. Now, the one thing about our program, which is now, our garden is 10 years old. 10 years, that's saying a lot. We would not be who we are today without the collaboration, the partnerships, the donations, people's time, their expertise, and just caring about us and caring about the fact that we do live within a food desert. I live in Northwest Roanoke, and we decided to come up with a program where we could teach children and parents together how to grow their healthy food, teaching the importance about organic growing and being able to preserve our foods. And we're still working on that. Since Leap Kitchen is still going to be over at the West End Center, we are going to be learning how to safely can our foods as well. The program called From the Ground Up, that's just what it's about. If you look at that symbol there, that was made for us by one of our local artists here in Roanoke, Virginia, who works with a community arts reach. We say, we teach you how to live together, to plant the seed and watch it grow, to nurture each other and understand what community really is. Community to me is coming together in unity. So that's what I am so thankful And I feel blessed to be a part of it, being able to serve. And Rachel, who's going to speak with you later, was one of the persons that had faith in what we wanted to do and access funding for us. So we went from pennies to having supplies and tools to work with everybody. Being that we are in the food desert and we want to have that healthy produce when available for everyone. So what we do at our program is you volunteer, you become a stakeholder. You're a partner of that garden. It's your garden home too. We want to grow through teaching each other. And we also have an orchard. And one AARP grant has allowed us to make some accessibilities for persons with disabilities. Everybody is welcome to the Carver Garden. And you come to the garden, you're going to find love for each other and love for Mother Earth, adopting the soil and taking care of what we can do for each other. In my goal, I would like to see our network be the very hub of whatever people need to learn to grow their own healthy food. Like we say, whether you have a big piece of land and you want us to help you cultivate that, or you just have a bucket or a pot, and we will be able to help you learn how to do that, all working together. It's very important that we realize the food shed is about every one of us feeling important, whatever we have to share with each other to secure healthy produce. So I want us all to know how to eat smart, move more, be healthy, and support one another. So I have some questions that I would like to put out there for anyone. If you feel like we can be of assistance to you, please contact us at the Carver Garden. Sits right on the corner of 6th and Loudon, 1 block up from Coca-Cola, and just come by. If you're a little skittish, don't worry about a thing. We are all in this network, one in all, trying to help each one of us to share our knowledge and alleviate all those fears and apprehensions. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to grow it in. We don't have a piece of land. I say, you got a pot or a bucket, and even if you got a little piece of soil, we can teach you how to grow your raised beds. We are also into holistics because we want to develop knowledge about our natural herbs and medicines, the medicinal qualities of eating healthy. But I'll probably leave that with Rachel. In forming a network, people with the same like goals and desires who want to share the knowledge from planting to preserving. And all of us in the network, we have all of that. We are actually an encyclopedia, and we learn to know and learn to learn. Each and every day with gardening has its challenges. The weather, Mother Nature sometimes makes us feel she's not being very kind to us. But we learn these things from each other of how to do with our geographics and being urban area, what works best for us. Not exactly all the time what works best in another region when we go online and research something that's working in their area, but sharing the experiences that we've had right here in this region with one another, because we are basically dealing with the same elements to work with. So that's my input for today. And I do want you to know that it is very sincere. Everybody is welcome to the garden, whatever level that you're on. And I guarantee you, I promise you, if I myself or some of the other persons that are with the garden, if we don't have your answer, thanks to the network, we'll help you find that answer and put you in contact with the people that you need to grow from a bucket or a pot, starting your seedlings in a cup, growing on to securing a piece of land that you can grow more and share. And remember that if your crop does better one season than someone else's in the network. That sharing is about, I got plenty of potatoes, but I don't have onions. You got some? We share them. I got plenty of corn. But you have all those melons. And right now at the Carver Garden, we still have some watermelons. We have sweet potatoes in the ground, doing good. We have turnips. We have greens. We want you to come by. Most importantly, as we go through the slides, growing from where we started, a lot that a house used to sit on. We had the soil tested. It was safe to utilize. We began to develop without a penny, and we have come to look like we're just people rolling over with lots of everything. But when you look at the slides, you will see us all there in the garden with people that just volunteer their time, their love, and their concern for us to be able to have safe and healthy food. We worked together, and then we got a grant, as I might have mentioned earlier, that allowed us to make our beds elevated so that persons with disabilities and handicaps, the elderly, or even a young person that just doesn't quite meet that standard of what's on the ground. So we went from the ground up again with our beds. As you see, there are at arm's reach and level where it's accessible for us to work with. Next one. Now this is our modern day growing. If you look at the first slide that's up in your upper left-hand corner, you see it just looks like we worked it and it's just some soil now. They got it really bare. And then on the right, compared to where we were in the orchard, we worked that together as well. We also have what's called to many a Bantu stand, but it's actually an area where we can hang our scale our produce for data, as well as persons knowing what they're actually getting, the weight of it, and how to prepare it by weight. And then on the other one is starch that we had from raising our greens inside the raised beds. The benches that you see, make it comfortable. And you want to take a rest while you're in the garden, it's okay. And they are close enough to the ground where you can actually sit on a bench and pull weeds if that's your task that you want to handle for that day. Now here, it doesn't look as great as it does today when you drive by, but trust you me, that was a lot of work. If you look at the one at the top, you see the barrels and you see our PVC tubing where we did experiments and we grew from that. So just to let you know, we advanced thanks to our cooperative extension agent to have celebration over the things that we become innovative with. Now you see, this is a modern day, you see the beautiful children, and that's the joy of the garden for me, is when the children actually want to be informed about how to grow their healthy food and they just join right in. We share so much love with each other. And they helped with us tarping this year for weed control. We also learned something about the heat that is produced, and it makes a better production season for some of the produce because of that barrier. And over there, we are just getting ready to plant that day. At the bottom right-hand corner, we were starting with the watermelons. And like I said, now we got some. We have one's called Sugar Baby, and we have Sugar Daddy. Now, when you come through and you see that big old field corn over there, this is something at the bottom right-hand corner. I'm so excited. I'm skipping around because the field corn was to be a part of a class about the three sisters, gardening with how the produce protects each other and make some disease barriers for one another and be supportive. Now, the field corn, people drove by and told us how high it was and, they never saw it grow like that. So what I did now recently, I've harvested that field corn. And even though we don't have the squash left, and we do have some beans, that we are able to make our own cornmeal. In my experiment, I did indeed manage to, I boiled the corn because I thought I was going to be able to eat it, but I said, even if I can, it's very tough. It wasn't made for that. So thus, I had destroyed any germs or pathogens, and then I let it dry. When the kernels dried, I was able to use an everyday coffee herb grinder to make cornmeal. There's your hush puppy base and your corn pone base and that big old pan of cornbread right there from what we did with the field corn. So I want to be able later on for us to teach a class on that. And of course, the raised beds and all that we have. We also have lots and lots of sweet potatoes and beautiful turnips right now to be shared. So Saturday, everybody, the end of the season celebration at the Carver Garden. This invitation is for everyone. If you just came by and gave us words of encouragement, some people just came by and said, it's looking good over there. It's so beautiful. But the love is what we want to celebrate. We would not have been here 10 years and still being a resourceful part of the food shed and working together and collaborating. So please, Saturday, November 5th, from noon to 2 p.m., you can stay a little longer if you like to. You will see updates to the garden and taste a variety of snacks based on our fall harvest. Now, the sweet potatoes, as you probably already guessed, is going to be a big part of all of this. You'll be able to meet with your fellow volunteers and supporters of the garden in enjoying cider, sweet potato smoothies, sweet potato pie for those with the sweet tooth, and of course, if all allows, I will be making sweet potato chili for the vegans and all of those who thought vegan eating could not be delicious. Again, we're located at 525 Loudon Avenue Northwest, 1 block west of the Coca-Cola plant. And I thank you all for this opportunity to serve.
Thank you so much, Ms. Amazetta. I'm smiling over here real big, seeing all the pictures of the garden, and hope that y'all, if you're available, can join on November 5th to see it in person if you haven't already. So thank you so much.
You are most welcome, dear. And you know, I'm looking for everybody. Everybody bring the babies, everybody, just come and enjoy and love. And by the way, if you know any drummers out there or some of those songwriters or poetess, bring them on so we can celebrate unity and oneness of creation together.
Great, thank you. And with that, I'll pass it on to Rachel Burks to share her screen, and we'll hear from her. Let's see, there we go.
All right.
Thanks, Rachel. Looks good.
Okay, great. Thank you. It's an honor to be speaking with you all today, especially alongside Amazetta. When I was asked to present on values-based perspectives regarding healthy food futures, these three really came to top of mind: equity, connection, and compassion. And to me, equity is the why, connection is the what, and compassion is the how. And I think these themes are ones that Amazetta has already touched on. So I'm excited that we had some similar themes coming up in our presentations today. So I'd like to talk about each of these in turn. I want to start by acknowledging how much of our lives, our work, and our perspectives are shaped by our past and our current experiences and contexts. The same is very true for me. I became interested in public health after losing my mother to colon cancer when I was 19 years old. That was and continues to be one of the most difficult things I've experienced in my life. And I know illness and death are very heavy, and I know I'm not alone in losing a loved one among all of you on this call today. But this is what fuels my passion for reducing health inequities. You know, there are groups of people who experience more disease and shorter lives for themselves, for their loved ones, because they have systematically experienced obstacles to health based on things like their race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, religion, gender, all sorts of these basic things And you can even see differences in health outcomes based on location. So in our region of Virginia, this picture I've posted here on this slide, you can see that just by crossing county or city lines, you can encounter groups of people who have the best health outcomes in the state to the worst health outcomes in the state. As you can see for Roanoke City, some of the worst health outcomes, Roanoke County, Montgomery County, Bedford, and Botetourt have some of the best. And this burden of suffering, it should be avoidable. And to me, it's unacceptable. And this is my why. And we can do a lot to reduce this suffering by increasing access to nutritious foods for disadvantaged groups of people. The reason why healthy food access can be so impactful is because our diets are one of the largest contributing factors to our risk for developing a whole host of chronic diseases, from diabetes to heart disease to even some cancers. So what do? We connect. My goal is to be a relationship builder, both with partners or stakeholders like many of you on this call, and also with individuals and community members that I'm aiming to serve. My vision of healthy food futures is one in which everyone collaborates with each other to share resources.
I think they have a huge emphasis of SNAP and food accessibility.
Oh, sorry about that, everyone. Again, just collaborating with each other in pursuit of common goals. Also being able to more easily connect community members to food and resources that exist. I believe that here in the United States, we are resource rich and we can find solutions to problems by connecting with each other and working together. And that's one of the things that I'm most excited about for the Roanoke Foodshed Network, is the ability of this network to really connect people in pursuit of improved food access. Connection to me is where the magic happens. And I want to give you an example that related to this picture here that you see. So a year or two ago, when I was working as a SNAP Ed agent, the Family Nutrition Program, Virginia Family Nutrition Program, had funding for Garden to Go programs. And I could never get out home gardening kits or container gardening kits in a meaningful way to the people who could most benefit from them. And so I partnered with Connie Kenny, who at the time was managing the Loop mobile market. And she had some recommendations for some folks on some of her stops that would enjoy the kits and really benefit from them. And I asked her what these clients might be interested in growing. She suggested mint. Because of my connection with Amazetta and Jean over at the Carver Garden, I knew they had a bunch of mint. That was easy. We got them some mint from the garden. Yep, this is Carver Garden mint. You can see on this page. Anyway, and this was the response that Connie was able to report back from this program. She said, so this was a low-income housing community. They didn't have access to grow on their own land. So at Westwood Village, 18 families with their children took home grow bags, soil, seeds, and plants. The mint was a huge hit at this stop. It was overwhelming watching the ladies show their children the mint and talk about the plants to them. I truly wished I had someone available to translate for me at this stop, to have heard what they were saying, but the smiles and gentle touches to the plants said it all to me. These ladies came from a land where they grew food, and to be able to give them this opportunity truly showed them hope for food in the future and trust between us. Since I've distributed the bags, I've had several folks ask for seeds, pepper plants, and more growing supplies. This is the value of connection and relationships. A true example of social capital, sharing resources and connecting with community members. So how do we do this? With compassion. And I define compassion as understanding of suffering together with actions to alleviate it. And this will tie back to that equity value as well. But both of these components are important. So understanding together with acting. We need to be constantly working to better understand one another. Thinking about our topic today, healthy food futures, for some, eating healthier, nutritious foods is a lot harder, or eating local foods is a lot harder. Why? Perhaps it's not physically accessible based on location and where they live. Maybe it's not affordable based on income. You know, a lot of folks who are trying to stretch food budgets focus on foods that are really filling, or foods that they know the children like because they don't want to take a risk on trying something new that they're not sure their family will be able to eat and enjoy. Or maybe it's not a preference, it's not something that you've experienced in your household growing up. You might not know how to cook with an item. You might not have the tools that are required or the time. Cooking takes a lot of time. And if you're working a couple jobs, making ends meet, that's really hard. Making an extra trip to a farmer's market can be really hard. Gosh, I could go on. I'll spare you, but there are so many challenges. And so I think that when we have a better understanding of the needs and the issues related to eating and accessing nutritious foods, we can do a better job of choosing appropriate responses, which again brings me back to this equity value. Working in food access, we need to provide extra and different kinds of supports and connections to different people if we want to realize healthy food futures for all. Some of the things that are going on in the Roanoke area include our community gardening, garden spaces that are embedded within neighborhoods, which includes kind of education and experiential and hands-on learning. Of course, all the discounts and the incentives that we have at different local food outlets are really helpful. Mobile markets and marketplaces, bringing food to people where they live. And then, of course, connecting with each other to provide creative and comprehensive solutions that no one partner or organization could accomplish on their own. So the result of these values, equity, compassion, and connection, in my mind, create this vision for a healthy food future in which everyone has the freedom and desire to eat nourishing foods. And I switched out the word healthy to the word nourishing so as not to put ourselves into a box, because I think sometimes when we say healthy, it means, you know, some foods are bad foods, and I don't want to create that messaging as much. You know, our physical body health is not the only thing that matters, even though it is something that is very near and dear to my heart. But, you know, foods, many different types of foods can be nourishing for different reasons, nourishing our minds, our bodies, our spirits, nourishing the earth, nourishing community. And so I just want to acknowledge that as well. And then before we move on to questions, of course, I said one of the values is connection. So please connect with me. I have my email and phone number on this slide. And I look forward to working with all of you and continuing to work with many of you towards this vision of healthy food futures for all. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Rachel. We're just gonna reorient our screen a little bit and then invite Kim Nawalny and Mo McGonigal to lead us in a moderated Q&A. So we'll make sure to just get everyone spotlighted here. Got it. Yeah. We have Mo as well. So Kim and Mo, I'll pass it on to you all. Thank you both so much, Ms. Amazetta and Rachel, for sharing about your work. It's super inspiring, and I'm really excited to hear more from you all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to take a deep breath, just to take in, right? I just feel that's a desire here right now. Really, thank you both. I don't know about the rest of you, but I experience emotion, not only innovation and ideas, but I felt what you shared. And that means a lot for this kind of work. And we want to, again, to continue to build relationships and to also continue to build understanding of how we can work together in this larger region, but also in other people's regions. How are you doing this work together? And one of the questions we wanted to ask, and Rachel, is perfectly the way you ended. I took a screenshot. Your vision for a healthy food future is everyone has the freedom and desire to eat nourishing foods. And that's just a lovely way to kind of ask all of us. I mean, why do we do the work we do? What's the long game? What's the vision you have for your community? Not just your own communities, but the communities that surround us and the ones that we may not know, right? So what is that vision for a healthy food future? And we wanted just to ask the both of you to maybe expand on that, share us with your vision. And it sounds like, Rachel, you started that, and maybe I'll turn it to you first if you wanted to say a little more about that, and we can ask Ms. Amizetta what her vision is for a healthy food future.
Yeah, I can add on to it, and I think it ties back to some of the concepts Mo was presenting at the beginning about related to the Roanoke Foodshed Network. The word abundance comes to mind. Having an abundance of nourishing foods and being able to connect everyone to those foods, but also experiencing a culture shift in which we have a community that seeks to connect with each other and connect with food. And there are many reasons why we don't immediately connect with each other and connect with food in this society. There are a lot of external forces at play here, but I think that culture shift and the idea of abundance are things that come to mind.
That's great. And I do appreciate you recognizing the word of nourishment and nourishing foods. Much more of an inclusive way to recognize how food enters into our lives and the significance of that. So I appreciate that. Ms. Amizetta, what is your vision for a healthy food future for all? I know you have an answer.
I do indeed. And I am so honored to be a part of this group right here, because Rachel has been my little inspirer. Mo has kept me motivated. And then when you all came to the garden and got a little bit of produce, it just made me feel so wonderful, because that is my vision, is the abundance of nurturement from the body, the mind, and the spirit. And if they say we are what we eat, then that's why I do it. And I believe with all my heart, that's why we all do it. Because we want to make sure that we are addressing our holistic needs through feeding ourselves the nurturement that we really need. And I want every one of us to look at it like this: from the ground up, from planting the seed and nurturing it, making sure it's healthy. We give it the best we can to that plate, till we actually partake of what we grow. And something, Rachel, you made me sit over here and have to dry my eyes to know that that day that you said, may I have some mint? Like, oh yeah, dude, take some mint. That you actually did what we're doing through the Envision Center as well, meeting the people, the mothers, the children, the grandparents, the growers from their own native lands, and come here and we are able to share with each other. That's what it means to me, that we will share recipes with each other. We will show them how to grow a particular vegetable they like here well, and something that they have, like the beans I ate that they grew this year, delicious, and share with each other recipes and come together. There's that community word again, that come together in unity and oneness. That's what it's about to me. So that we not only take care of ourselves, but we are actually facilitative in the next generations being able to take care of themselves, being able to nurture themselves, and have somewhere to reach out and grasp what they need from within the system that we have built in our shed. That's my vision, yeah.
Beautiful. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you all both so much. You're such inspirations. And similarly, I was feeling all kinds of emotions. In both of your presentations, you talked a lot about connection. And so the next question I have for you is centered around connection. What lessons have you learned about creating connections across the food system that could apply to anyone in this work? And I'll let either of you respond first, whoever raise your hand. Go ahead, Ms. Amazetta.
I have learned, even though we do not always transliterate a language foreign to us easily, somehow growing this food and sharing with each other, I have learned that just being willing to share, the compassion was shared by those people that didn't really understand everything I was saying. I didn't really understand everything they were saying. However, we shared. We came together and built a closeness over Napa cabbage and bok chow. And they said, yes, the greens, very good. And I then exchanged and said, did they want to know how to prepare them, like a salad or a steam? So what I've learned is what we are doing is beneficial. And even though we can't always speak the language, the love of providing and nurturing for each other is universal, and it does break down apprehensive barriers. So I'm looking forward to it. And I think that Rachel can take it a little bit further because of the experiences that she's had. She's got something to enlighten us with too.
Oh, thank you, Amazetta. I think my answer to that question is just taking time to build some relationships, to get to know the people behind the work. I feel like, especially in this virtual world, we hop on meetings and we try to get to work and we miss out on some of that chit chat or just checking in with people and getting to know each other a little bit better. But I really think that that's important for us to be able to work together and kind of improve our coordination across the food system. Because once we know each other, then we can really, the work becomes easier. You know what I mean? Like the example I gave with the Gardens to Go program, that was easy because I already knew all these people that I needed help from to get this meaningful work off the ground. So just taking time to get to know each other.
On that note, I wanted to just share, Rachel, the Food Access Working Group is hosting a fall festival harvest. So I'm going to put that in the chat, but I wanted to see if you might like to just provide a little context around that event.
Yes, so there is a Fall Harvest Festival coming up on October 13th at Morningside Urban Farm in Southeast Roanoke. This festival is being hosted by the Food Access Working Group of the Roanoke Foodshed Network, and it's something we have been thinking about and planning for quite a long time as a way to both celebrate food, but also to connect community members to a variety of resources. So acknowledging that it's difficult to navigate all of these, it's difficult to navigate this world that we live in and to connect to the resources that can help you and your family. And so this festival, we've got about 20 community partners that are coming out and giving information on their services and resources. There will be flu shots and COVID boosters available on site. There's free food if you register in advance and up to a certain number at the door. So that takes away another barrier for folks to come and participate. And we're just hoping we have a lot of people attend and we're able to make some good connections there. So come on out if you'd like. We'd love for you to join or help us spread the word. I can get you some flyers too if you want to help spread the word.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Go ahead, Katie.
Oh, good. I was just going to say exactly that. Jinx.
At this point, we have about 5 minutes left. So if anybody has any questions that you would like to ask Rachel or Miss Amazetta, feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll be sure to get to them. In the meantime, Kim, would you want to ask one more question?
Absolutely. There's many things to ask here. We're thinking about the ways in which you're doing your work, and I think you've already given us lots of, wisdom to consider. This work also requires sort of some elements of self-care and I guess hopefulness, and clearly the two of you embody that. So when you think about this future, this healthy food future that you've talked about in the work that you're doing, what gives you a sense of hope?
For me, it is a spiritual connection that I make with it. I have gone to the garden, and I would like for other people to try it. Just try it. It may work for you too. On a really stressful day, just go to work in the garden. Actually planting my hands, touching soil, planting seeds, giving them the nurturement that they need, and watching them grow. I have actually gone there upset and a little stressed and end up feeling as light as a feather in a little bit of time and spend hours in the garden. So to me, it's therapeutic. It is a healing process. We also have space in the orchard where you can just go and sit and meditate, clear your thoughts, and become one with nature. So that is what it does for me. That's what motivates me. That's what strengthens me. And if I'm there and I'm harvesting and I have no takers that day, and gather up all that produce and that fruit and berries and take it over to one particular place, for me it's Ram House. Having outlets, knowing that what I'm doing is never in vain, that there's always someone who needs to have good food, nurturing them, and somebody receiving it to say to you, thank you. This will be put to good use. And you know that that contribution that you made that day is feeding many people, being a part of a good bodybuilding, sustaining meal. That's what it does for me. That's my motivation, to walk away from there and say, yes, because they feed so many people every day who otherwise may not have had a good, wholesome meal that day. So that's what keeps me inspired. And I'm hoping that I have many more years to go on until all the babies that you all have and are going to make will remember and reflect upon this, knowing that they can plant a seed, watch it grow, and be healthier from the ground up.
Thank you, Ms. Amazetta.
You're welcome.
If half the people could have a quarter of the empathy you have, I think this world would be a much better place.
Yeah, I was going to say what gives me hope is Amazetta. but seriously, all of the partners and all of the people who not only work hard at this work every day, but are passionate about it. And you can tell truly care and understand the community and work to be in service day in and day out. And that's what gives me hope. There are so many of us working on this project that we will be successful.
Yes, we will. And tell me, if I would like to ask a question, anybody can answer this. How does it make you feel when you go back to the beginning where we started this, from our idea about how we wanted to help eradicate this suffering of being in this food desert, and then see not only the children that we have touched, but the children and the parents and the grandparents and the friends actually started their own gardens and coming to us to ask for advice. How does that make you feel?
Hopeful. Very hopeful.
I think we're going to have some healthy futures.
Yeah, I think we came full circle here. Yeah.
Yes, I believe there's many questions to ask and many moments to uplift, but I do know we're at our time. I know Maureen and Katie probably want to say a few things, but I just want to offer my gratitude for this conversation today. I think we often get stuck in the place that the work is work. It's sort of the nuts and bolts. And yes, nuts and bolts make things, but without the energy that goes into uplifting and making things happen, the nuts and bolts don't happen on their own, right? And so I think you all just demonstrated that really effectively with heart. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead,
We keep
Katie.
saying, echoing a big thanks over here as well. Rachel, I know you had to hop up exactly at 2. We had a couple announcements we'd love to share with participants, but if you need to head out, that's totally fine. One is we would love to have folks feedback on this session. There's just a really short Google form that you can fill out. And we also want to let you know if you liked this session by Rachel and would like to participate in future ones. We have one coming up once a month for the next 3 months. And Garland's putting that information in the chat, both for the survey and for the future events, and just make sure to register for each one individually. And I will pass it to Mo because there's another way for you all to get connected beyond the Fall Harvest Festival coming up next week, and also November 5th in the garden at the Carver Center or the Carver Gardens. But Mo has one other opportunity that we'll also put in the chat, and I'll pass it to you, Mo.
Yeah, we have an all-partner meeting coming up on October 20th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. here in Roanoke at the Grandin Unitarian Universalist Church. And we'll include a free locally sourced lunch as part of that. So if you're interested in learning more about the network and getting involved, it's a great opportunity to actually sit down with the community, get to know each other, and learn more about this great and evolving work. There is a registration process, and I don't know if we have that link ready to go, but if not, we'll be sure to, oh yeah, great, thanks Garland. We'll be sure to also send a follow-up email to all participants so that you all have kind of a consolidated list of everything that we talked about today. But big thanks to our speakers and big thanks to all of you for joining us.
Great. And thank you for the opportunity to serve and share.